What's going on, Dodger fans? Hope everyone is enjoying the Dodgers play as of late. We've got an exciting show to dive into this evening. It's going to be a lot of Shohei Ohtani talk. We got hit with a big happy surprise a few days ago that Shohei Ohtani was going to make his Dodgers pitching debut, the first time ever throwing in a live game that counts in a Dodgers uniform. And we're going to break it down right now. Jake Reiner in the house, the Incline Dodgers presented by Tick Pick and Fansided. Thank you for those that are tuning in. Hope everyone was thrilled to see Shohei Ohtani make his Dodgers debut against, I think, a good opponent, the San Diego Padres. Definitely some fuel added to the fire right there. Shohei Ohtani, Dylan Cease, marquee pitching matchup. Jake Reiner, dive into it. How you feeling about all of the Ohtani pitching stuff?
Obviously, Kevin, when you look at it from afar as a fan of baseball, when he was playing for the Angels and you watched him pitch and you saw him hit, you were amazed by it. You couldn't help but be amazed by it. But obviously, when he's pitching for your team and you're watching him do both of these things and at such a high level, I mean, he's pumping 98 in there and then going, 2 for 3, 2 for 4 with a double and just a monster day at the plate. It's one of the coolest things. It's one of the coolest things to witness in sports, whether you were there at the game. I know a couple of friends of mine were there, or you were watching it on TV. It was can't miss TV. And I was really pissed, honestly, because I felt like Ohtani pitched better than his line would suggest, because there was a strike 3 call on Manny Machado where I've never seen more of a swing in my life. I mean, it was not even close. It was a check swing, and they motioned down to the first base umpire, and he basically said no swing. And then on the very next pitch, Machado hits a fly ball, a sacrifice fly, and Tatis scores. Now, Tatis may have scored anyway on the grounder by the next batter, but you robbed Shohei Ohtani at the very least of a strikeout in the first inning. So that was really annoying. And the Dodgers, gave up a run, and it looked like they weren't going to be able to touch Dylan Cease tonight. I mean, he started the game with like 6 consecutive strikeouts and was just mowing us down. And it kind of felt like the similar game that he pitched against us in San Diego recently, where he kind of had a handle on us. So I was really worried in the early part of the game. And then the Dodgers offense, which I'll get into in a second, but really, really woke up early on, which I was very, very encouraged by.
So the Dodgers improved to 43-29 with their win over the Padres in Game 1 of this 4-game series. They're now, they're 44-29. Sorry, they're 2.5 games ahead of the San Francisco Giants, and they've got a nice little cushion now over the San Diego Padres. 4 games ahead of the Padres with a 44-29 record. So with Shohei Ohtani, you mentioned him pitching. He only pitched 1 inning, but it was an electric 1 inning. And I kind of wanted to break down his pitch mix real quick. We got 30 pitches out of Shohei Ohtani, 13 of them being the 4-seam fastball. He topped out at 100.2 miles per hour. I did not expect that tonight from Shohei Ohtani. Not going to lie. I thought he was going to be between 94 and 96 miles per hour. I was pleasantly surprised to see the first pitch come out of his arm tonight. I think it was 98 miles per hour, and then he topped at 100 miles per hour. He had a very effective sweeper as well. That was a pitch that he throws a lot in his career. He threw it 8 times tonight. Didn't really get any whiffs, only 4 swings, but no whiffs, and he mixed in a curveball as well. But I know Ohtani obviously was a little wild to be expected. He hasn't really pitched in 2 years, so I didn't have the highest expectations. But again, that velocity was my biggest takeaway, and I'm stoked to see Ohtani continue to build himself up and become a fully stretched out starting pitcher.
Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, like you said, he reached triple digits a couple times and you could really picture how dominant he can be when he's had a few more starts under his belt. And I love the fact that they skipped the rehab start. They didn't want to do that. They didn't want to send him down to AAA or pitch in another simulated game. Let's put him in the rotation and have him help this team like we're like they're paying him to do.
Yeah.
And let's get some major league hitters out, and in an important series at that. And, a San Diego Padres team that's right on their heels, including the Giants. And so for him to want to come back in this game, the first game of this series against Dylan Cease, I mean, that's so cool in and of itself. I mean, he just loves the game. He loves winning. Nothing else matters to him. And that is one of the coolest parts about Ohtani is he just is a gamer, and he plays his ass off, and he's a World Series champion because of it.
The development of this whole Ohtani returning to the mound was certainly interesting because just a day or two ago, Dave Roberts told the media that the chances of him returning before the All-Star break was like north of 0%, which to me that doesn't really make a lot of sense because north of 0% is anywhere between 1 to 100%. But so that threw me off. And then Carl Ravage, who works for ESPN, threw a little note out there that didn't really get a lot of traction, surprisingly, but he basically said he got wind of a rumor that Ohtani could be returning to the mound as soon as today against the Padres. And then Alden Gonzalez, another ESPN affiliate, broke the story, and Jeff Passan confirmed it. So I was very happy because I didn't expect Shohei Ohtani to be pitching in June. I mean, certainly I guess the strategy was different because I thought Ohtani would return to the mound stretched out, as opposed to a one-inning guy. But like, what are your thoughts on them using as an opener for now? Does it make sense?
Absolutely makes sense. I think that it has so many benefits. One of them being he's not a reliever. I mean, he's not part of the bullpen, right? Yeah. But you're using him as one. So it takes up, I mean, I'm sure as we keep going along here, he'll pitch a little bit deeper each time. So if he gives you 1 to 3 innings, 1 to 4 innings, anywhere in there, that gives a massive lift to the bullpen. Not to mention, he is an elite pitcher. So having him out there for any amount of time is a huge benefit. Just being able to build himself up and pitch against major league talent is a huge benefit to him. I don't see what the downside would be to having him figure it out. And I think it says a lot about the Dodgers offense, to be honest with you, because this offense, just like we saw Dustin May the other night, who looked like he had a terrible outing for a while, but ended up going 6 innings and giving up 3 runs. And that's honestly a great start for any starting pitcher on this staff because the offense is so good. So yeah, you're taking a risk in having a guy tune up out there who hasn't pitched in a really long time against major league pitching, but you're also entrusting that he's going to be better than, the average pitcher, certainly, and also confidence in your offense that they can support him. And that's what you saw tonight.
Yeah. And I guess part of the development as well is kind of Ohtani dictating this. I believe, if I have that correct, he was the one that told the Dodgers, like, get me in these games, I'm ready to go. And the Dodgers were kind of working around it. I had heard some kind of rumors out there that there had been discussions of maybe Ohtani coming out of the bullpen in this type of role, but I think it makes more sense for now to just start him in the first inning and build him up as a starter. So by the time we get to October, Ohtani is going to be able to deliver 5 to 7 innings, maybe, depending on how he feels in the postseason. But I mean, this is a guy that has a career ERA of basically 3. So he is a legitimate ace, and that's what the Dodgers just got tonight. It's still a journey ahead. It's not instant Ohtani of the Angels when he was dominating 3 ERA, going 7 innings, 8 innings at times. But we're going to get back there. I have no doubt about it. Tonight's velocity was super encouraging.
Yeah, it was very encouraging. Obviously, I think has a lot to do with his adrenaline pumping through his veins, starting his first game as a Los Angeles Dodger and it be against, one of your division rivals, the Padres. That's huge. I also want to shout out the rest of this Dodgers bullpen that stepped it up tonight. I mean, we can go through all the names, but one that stands out is Ben Kasparius. I mean, he was basically told he was going to be in the starting rotation, and then surprise, Ohtani's going to start and you're going to come in afterwards. I mean, this guy has been a team player in every sense of the word.
Yeah.
Just doing whatever they ask him to do. And he ends up going 3 2/3 innings, gives up 2 runs and strikes out 2. I'm I'm very much looking forward to the game that Ben Kasperius starts to see what he does as a starting pitcher from start to finish. But unbelievable job by him, unbelievable job by the bullpen. And yeah, I want to get in the offense at some point too.
We will. But will he start? That's the question. Or is he the piggyback guy for Ohtani for the foreseeable future?
He might be to start. He might be to start out. Honestly, he might be.
Because they're going to have someone piggyback Ohtani, especially if he's going 1 inning. Maybe next start he'll go 2 innings and then build himself up to 3. But you'll still need a piggyback guy for a while. But shout out Justin Yamas. Ohtani versus Cease is a Father Days matchup. Ohtani is the dad and Cease is the son. I mean, what more is there to say about Shohei Ohtani? Not only did he pitch tonight, you have to imagine the amount of emotions and adrenaline running through his veins. He was able to have multiple RBI base hits tonight. He was the Dodgers' first run on the board. Then he had another clutch RBI base hit off Dylan Cease. And you mentioned it earlier, the Dodgers didn't really have an answer for Dylan Cease for those first 2 to 3 innings. And then the offense completely uncorked on him. Andy Pages kind of built a rally with his double, and they unloaded.
Yeah, they did. When I was thinking about Ohtani versus Cease, it reminded me of that highlight a few years ago when Ohtani was pitching for the Angels and he was facing Dylan Cease when he was on the White Sox. And it was incredible because, and it was an ESPN game. It was incredible because Ohtani was able to get through the first inning, I think, unscathed and was, pumping 98 to 100, and then literally got up leading off the inning and hit the first pitch, just crushed it. Matt Vasgersian on the call, first pitch swinging, first pitch crushing. And it just made me think of that. I was really thinking that that's what was going to happen in the first inning. And Ohtani did get a pitch to hit from Cease in that first at bat that he could have demolished and just missed it. And you saw after he swung, he was like, you knew it. He knew he missed it. But that was all I could think of right there, was that recreating that highlight.
Thanks for those commenting along. Hit that like button. We'll also take some questions along the way. Go Dodgers. It's a great night to be Shohei Ohtani fans. You want to talk offense or bullpen first?
I'm going to talk offense for a second, because what we've seen throughout the season is that the offense is, generally speaking, carried this team. When the pitching has been good, bad, or indifferent, the offense has been there. There have been stretches where they haven't been able to hit with runners in scoring position, but for the most part have been, the best team in baseball when it comes to that. The last few games, though, the Padres series, the Giants series, and this current Padres series, the Dodgers, not every night, but for the majority of those games throughout that stretch, have been starting to score earlier and earlier. And that's a huge part, because that changes everything. You jump out to a lead and you're able to hold a lead and give, a bunch of runs to your starting pitcher. That adds confidence to them that they're going to be able to, pitch kind of a little more freely. When your offense doesn't wake up till about the 5th or 6th inning, that puts a lot of pressure on the starting pitching, because the starters don't have a lot of margin for error. So any mistakes they do make is going to be magnified. Kind of like what we saw with Dustin May the other night, where, he got cooked for 3 runs and gave up the lead. And that would have been a huge moment that we would look back at and say, Dustin May doesn't have it, but he's able to keep it right there, and the offense charges ahead. But separate from that, there have been games more recently strung together where the offense scores early, and that's a huge thing. And that's what we saw tonight. The offense, even though they were down, they got down by 1. They were able to storm back in that 3rd or 4th inning where they put up 5 runs.
That game you're referring to was Andy Pages, who hit the huge 3-run home run, and that ties me into tonight. Mike Shildt, manager of the San Diego Padres, embodies everything of little brother syndrome. Like, you could not think of a more perfect manager right now than Mike Shildt to be the face of a little brother organization. When he was yelling at Andy Pages, because Andy Pages was looking at Cease, giving him that look after he got hit by the pitch, and you have Mike Shildt yelling from the dugout, "Who the fuck do you think you are?" Whatever. Absolute embarrassment right there. Definitely a little brother manager. Do you not know who Andy Pages is? He's a World Series champion. Let's do the math right now. Andy Pages has 1 World Series to his ring. Let's add up every single Padres player to ever win a World Series. Whatever that's thousands of players. You know how many World Series all those Padres have won? 0. Andy Pages is a winner, and Andy Pages is currently having, you could argue, an all-star worthy season for the Los Angeles Dodgers. I mean, these numbers right now kind of look like Matt Kemp on an average year. Not 2011 MVP Matt Kemp, but like a Matt Kemp on an average year. 282 batting average, 806 OPS, 13 home runs, which is tied for second, 46 RBIs, which I believe is also tied for second. The guy has been a maniac for the Dodgers, and he completely put behind those 2 dreadful weeks where he was hitting like 100 and was a liability on defense. He leads the Dodgers by a mile right now in defensive run saves, plus 11, because he's become an elite outfielder. He has a cannon of an arm, and he's second on the team as well. Entering tonight with runners in scoring position, he was hitting like 390.
I don't know how else to say this, but I was completely wrong about Andy Pages. I'm willing to admit that now because I've seen enough sample size for me to be like, all right, you were completely wrong about him. And to be fair, I was talking mainly about the defense because the offense last year, you saw the makings of a kid who could really rake if he, put it together. So I always had the idea that maybe he would put it together offensively, but the defense was what I was most concerned about. And that he's blown out of the water. I mean, you bring it up all the time. He leads the team in defensive runs saved out there. I mean, he has really improved his defense. And I was listening to Vassay the other night talking about how Dino Ebel has been working with Andy Pages in the outfield, daily, getting him, drills and working him out there. Teoscar Hernandez has been a huge influence, being right next to him on the field in the corner there. A huge positive influence. I mean, just another reason to love Teoscar Hernandez amongst every other reason that exists. So I love what I'm seeing from him. He's clutch. He's got a lot of grit, and I love that attitude from him tonight where he got hit by Cease. Now, my take is I don't think that Cease was actually trying to hit him because at that point, the Dodgers had taken the lead 3-2. So why would Cease be wanting to put more runners on base? It just doesn't make much sense. But I love the spice from Pages. I love the spice between the Dodgers and the Padres. Whether you want to call it a rivalry or not, it kind of isn't a rivalry when the Dodgers pretty much own the Padres. So it's not really a rivalry in that sense, but it is always fun when these two teams play. It is always electric. There's a ton of great personalities that are always clashing. So I love that from Pages. I love that from Schilt, whatever that means, whatever he was trying to say there. Machado usually is a prick. So it's always fun with Dodgers and Padres.
We've got a nice 3-1 season series lead against the Padres right now. And the other guy we got to talk about because they had a huge 2-run base hit that actually put the Dodgers on top 3-2. Your guy, Max Muncy, looking like the Max Muncy of every year. Max Muncy, last 7 games, 462 on base percentage. Last 15 games, 475 on base percentage. Last 30 games, 430 on base percentage. And he's got the RBIs to accompany that.
He's found it. Like I've said about Max Muncy, he is a mistake hunter. He has got the best eye in baseball. And right now, when he hunts a mistake and finds it, he's connecting with it. And it's not just the power. Like we've seen, I don't know if there's been a change in his swing or his approach, but typically with Max Muncy, he's pretty 3 true outcome. It's home run, strikeout, or walk, right? But he's getting a lot more hits these days. And that, to me, is super encouraging. I mean, he's hitting the gaps. It's not just boom or bust with him. So I don't know if he shortened his swing or changed his approach in any way, but I'm just loving what I'm seeing from Max Muncy. I always have. And like I tweeted tonight, if you want to jump on the Max Muncy bandwagon, there's room for everybody. The lifers, we've been here since the beginning, but we welcome anybody that wants to support him because I think that a guy like Max Muncy on your team is kind of heart and soul guy. but he's not just that. I mean, he's a producer. He's a run producer. He means a lot to this lineup. And I think he goes underappreciated by this fan base, to be honest. Yes, he's not the best fielder. We get that. But this guy consistently has put up massive numbers for this team and has come through in the clutch a number of times. So I think Max Muncy deserves his flowers. He's turned his season around. Loving what I'm seeing from him.
Yeah, can't really complain about having 9 home runs, 37 RBIs, 368 on base percentage on the season, 785 OPS, and the pace he's going, he'll have an OPS above 800 pretty soon. So looks like my dream of Nolan Arenado is completely dead. I don't see the Dodgers making that move at all. We will talk about some trade rumors in a little bit, but I did want to focus back on some of this Dodgers play as of late. So we talked Max Muncy. Shohei Ohtani had a pretty big series in San Francisco. So let's pivot real quick to that San Francisco series since there were a couple of things I wanted to talk about. Shohei Ohtani had 2 home runs in that middle game. That put him up to 250 career home runs. That's an impressive feat right there. He's got 25 home runs on the season altogether. But this was the game where not only did the Dodgers offense show up and put a ton of runs on the board, but Clayton Kershaw absolutely dominated the San Francisco Giants, put together 7 scoreless innings. And you look at his season ERA now, I believe it's 3.25 now after you throw away that first start where he was basically coming back, the 3.25 ERA. But if we discount that first start, he has like a 1.90 ERA over his last 5 starts. So first you could talk about Kershaw, then we'll get into kind of a more debated discussion.
You know, I don't know whether or not you need to see more starts from Clayton Kershaw to, take back what you said about him when he was coming back from injury, but I'll leave that up to you to answer. I just would like to say that Clayton Kershaw is still a really good pitcher. Is he the pitcher that he was when he was winning Cy Young Awards? No. But is he an above average pitcher? Absolutely. I mean, his stuff still works. He is one of the smartest baseball minds the game's ever seen. He knows pitching inside and out. He has gotten older, wiser, way craftier than he ever used to be. And of course he beat down the Giants. He historically has owned them. And the other day was no different. He pitched 7 innings, Kevin. I mean,
I know.
When you take a look at this rotation and all the injuries it's had, would you have put Clayton Kershaw like in the category of a guy that would pitch 7 scoreless innings of a game? It was unfortunate that they had to bring in Kike Hernandez to, blow the shutout. But I mean, Kershaw could have pitched even into the 8th or 9th inning with how he was dealing that night. I mean, just great stuff from him. If we get this the rest of the way, you can't, there's nothing to turn your nose up at right there.
Yeah, I mean, you're giving me a hard time, but this is where we're going to get into in a second. I just wanted to point out that he's now, I believe it's 12 strikeouts away from 3,000. So he's at 2,988. So, yeah, he's 12 strikeouts away from that career feat of 3,000 career strikeouts. So he's definitely made it up in his last couple starts. He should be able to get that in maybe 2-3 starts. I'd have to look at the schedule to see if that's a home start for Kershaw, but I have to imagine if it is a home start, you're going to see those ticket prices start to go up like they did tonight for Shohei Ohtani. So you're giving me a hard time, Jake, but this is where we get into it. So with the way Clayton Kershaw is pitching, how do you exclude him from the playoff rotation as of right now? You've got Yamamoto, lock, obviously. Snell's coming back. Have to hope he's going to be healthy and will pitch like the Blake Snell that they gave him all that money to. So we'll say Blake Snell's in there for now. Shohei Ohtani, if he gets stretched out and the mechanics look good, there's your 3. But I feel like number 4 is completely up in the air. What has Tyler Glasnow done lately? Nothing. Can't really slot him in there. Are you going to really go with Dustin May over Clayton Kershaw right now? I'm not so sure about that. If Gonsolin comes back, you're not going Gonsolin. Sheehan is going to make his debut either tomorrow or Wednesday we can't really just automatically throw him in the mix yet, but he could be on the postseason roster if he looks like Sheehan of 2023. And unless I'm forgetting anyone else, I don't think I am, because Roki Sasaki hasn't really done much this year either. Seems like it might be Kershaw's job.
Obviously, if the season ended on June 16th, I would agree with you that you'd have to consider Clayton Kershaw as a postseason starter. I also think that you should consider Dustin May as an option there too. I mean, if the season were to end right now, but I mean, let's look at this seriously. This is the Dodgers we're talking about. They have the most pitching injuries of anybody ever. I mean, it seems so. I just don't know what this team is going to look like come September, October. Who's going to be available. And that's really what it's going to come down to. And I don't know whether or not they're going to go after a starting pitcher at the deadline. That is a huge question mark. I think that they should, obviously. I mean, I don't think you can have too much pitching, and there's something freaky that always happens to this team down the stretch, like a Freddie Freeman injury or a Max Muncy injury that just derails things. So I just feel like we got to wait and see on that. But, I mean, he certainly at this point deserves a look. Like, I don't know if I would go ahead and say you're starting a playoff game for us, but I mean, if push comes to shove and he is healthy and is pitching like this in September, I mean, how do you not give him that consideration?
Definitely. And I think hopefully these are the discussions we have where we have an abundance of pitching and not scrambling to find 3 starters like we did last postseason, where fortunately Walker Buehler stepped up, because if it was Walker Buehler of the regular season, who knows how 2024 would have gone. But I mean, Kershaw, it's always going to be a matchup thing. I think it honestly depends who we would face in the NLDS. If we're facing the San Diego Padres, do I want Clayton Kershaw starting a playoff game? Probably not. If we're facing the San Francisco Giants, would I feel good about Clayton Kershaw starting a playoff game? I think I would. I think whether it's in San Francisco, which has never really been a hostile environment, or Los Angeles, because the Giants are a playoff team technically right now, I think I could trust Kershaw against San Francisco. Could I trust Kershaw against the Mets? Don't know yet. Kind of just depends how the Mets are looking. Pete Alonso, obviously a power bat. If Juan Soto's scorching hot in the second half, then we can have this discussion. Kershaw in Philadelphia, probably another matchup I wouldn't feel good about either. So it just kind of depends, I think, who we're facing, but we don't know yet.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good debate to keep having, but it's going to be a debate that fluctuates based on what we see from the starting rotation and who's healthy.
Just the last thing I wanted to talk about in that San Francisco series. So it felt like the Dodgers were going to win that first game when you have Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound. But Yamamoto was, of course, pinched a little bit by the umpire, but he did give up a grand slam at the end of the day to kind of one of the lesser tier hitters on San Francisco. It's like Casey Schmidt, I want to say.
It was.
And so the Dodgers lost that game. So it had me thinking, Yoshinobu Yamamoto on 5 days rest versus Yoshinobu Yamamoto on 6+ days rest. So if Yoshinobu Yamamoto is on 5 days rest, he's got a 4.46 ERA this season, and that's 7 starts. If Yoshinobu Yamamoto is on 6+ days rest, also 7 starts, he has a 0.90 ERA.
That's a huge drop off there.
It is. So it has me wondering if the Dodgers want to really maximize Yamamoto's potential, I think they need to find a way to get him on that 6-day rest every time out. I know it won't happen in the playoffs, but if you're really trying to win all your games right now, I mean, I would try to force that hand.
Yeah, it's just about who is available, right? And you mentioned Emmett Sheehan coming back. That's a big that is a big gun coming back. And hopefully we're not too far away from Blake Snell. So it is good that these guys are coming back, because that means that they can go to a 6-man rotation. The problem is that if you don't have enough pitching, then you're having to resort to these bullpen games, and that really taxes your bullpen, and you're not really able to implement that 6-day, rotation, 6-day rest for Yamamoto.
Yeah.
So it comes down to, do they have these arms available? And right now it looks like they do. I mean, there are positive, positive news every day, with Ohtani coming back, Kasparius being a guy that they can call upon, Emmett Sheehan on the way back, like we mentioned, and Snell. I mean, then you can do that. And obviously that's the plan. It has to be. I mean, they, if you're able to pull up those numbers, they definitely know those numbers.
So we just got confirmation from all the Dodgers media reporters through Dave Roberts that it'll be a bullpen game tomorrow, followed by Emmett Sheehan making his 2025 debut Wednesday.
Go.
So I hope bullpen game doesn't mean Matt Sauer again, because I would hate to punt another game to the Padres. But if we're kind of looking at who's on the roster right now, it kind of seems inevitable that Matt Sauer is going to be the bulk guy once again, unless they recall someone from Oklahoma City. Bobby Miller, would they dare go to him?
What about Robleski?
Robleski, yes, but I feel like, is he on enough rest? I feel like he pitched a mouthful very recently, but maybe I'm mixing up days.
I don't know, but Matt Sauer.
He follow Yamamoto. Is that where I'm getting that from?
Maybe
it all blurs together.
I remember he pitched in relief in a blowout game recently. That's what I remember. But Matt Sauer got absolutely toasted by this Padres lineup. So I really would wish that they would try and find someone else, please.
I honestly think they might go with someone like Bobby Miller if they can make the roster moves work. Just because I don't know how you can go back to the well with Matt Sauer when he was that bad. I know Bobby Miller.
How do we answer me this? This may be an ignorant question, but answer me this. How do we not have another starter in Oklahoma City? How is there not another starting pitcher they can call up? Really? This is it. This is all we can do.
The problem is Nick Frasso has been kind of disappointing as well, to be expected coming back from shoulder surgery. They've got Robleski up right now. They've got Landon Knack down there. I don't know if I don't think Knack is eligible to be recalled right now, because I think you have to let 15 days go by unless there's an immediate IL placement. And then I think yeah, I mean, those are basically our AAA guys.
It's just, I mean, come on. Why isn't Robleski better?
He has been better. To his credit.
A little bit, but just not good options. I mean, it's just like they could be good, they could be terrible. It's like you'd have no confidence with any of these guys. I don't know what they're going to do, because I mean, it's essentially back-to-back bullpen games,
pretty much.
And they used their best guys tonight.
Won't be Urania.
Yeah, I know that.
He said Toodles.
So I don't know what they're going to do tomorrow, because they used all their best guys tonight, pretty much.
It's going to be Sauer. They're going to recall someone. But just the last thoughts on Sheehan, since he'll pitch after the next time we talk. What do you think his velocity is going to top out at, if you had to guess?
What is he usually sitting at, like 95, 96?
I think in 2023 he hit 97, 98 a few times.
Yeah. So okay. Then he probably will be around, like, I would think 94, 95, maybe.
I'm going higher. I think he tops out at 100 miles per hour. I think.
Oh, you think he's like really going to gas it? Okay. I thought you were going to take the more conservative approach here.
Fresh elbow, first inning, high adrenaline. I think he hits 100. I don't know what's been going on with these pitchers. I don't know if they're juicing the radar guns, but all these guys who I didn't expect to throw 100 miles per hour are all of a sudden throwing triple digits. It's kind of wild. Sandy Alcantara, my apologies, was linked to the Dodgers. Per Bob Nightingale in a USA Today article a couple days ago, mentioned that the Dodgers are lurking in the Alcantara market. How do you feel about Sandy Alcantara being a Dodgers target?
He's been terrible, obviously, recently. He was once elite, and I think that my delusion has led me to believe that the Dodgers can fix him, because they've fixed what looked like a lot worse than Sandy Alcantara in the past. So if they can fix Evan Phillips and, they can make Phil Bickford serviceable, then they can make Sandy Alcantara good once again. So I think I've talked myself into it, and I think that's probably what Andrew Freeman and Brandon Gomes are thinking too.
I'm going to squash that rumor. I just don't buy it right now. For one, like you mentioned, he's been bad this season. Getting a little better as of late. His ERA has now dropped to 6.88. But if he's the top pitching commodity on the market, that means you're going to have to pay more to get him. And I just have a hard time believing that the Dodgers would give up a haul to get a guy that's having a mediocre season like Alcantara. Not only that, he's under contract for at least another year, and then there's an option that's attached to that. I don't feel like it's a Dodgers thing right now to get a pitcher that you have to commit to for a couple of years. To me, it kind of seems like the Dodgers recipe, if they were to acquire a starter, it's going to be a rental. I think whether it's a Zach Eflin type or if the Red Sox are giving up on everyone, maybe they just go back to Buehler. But I think if they were to acquire a starter, I'm kind of thinking it will be a rental.
But do you think that Sandy Alcantara's price is that high right now? I mean, I would imagine that his value has dropped considerably.
I don't think so. Because
why?
You ultimately get a pretty cheap, cost-controlled starting pitcher that still has won a Cy Young. And I just remember even a couple years ago when there were a lot of big-name starters out there, we were frustrated, like, why didn't the Dodgers get them? Like when Jordan Montgomery got traded, or he just slipped my head. But anyways, we overpaid for Lance Lynn, in my opinion. And I feel like with Alcantara, the Marlins are going to have all the leverage there. There's going to be a number of teams desperate for starting pitching. And I just don't envision the Dodgers getting into a bidding war for him.
I don't know. If they go after him, I have a good feeling. It just has like Andrew Friedman fleece written all over it. Like, I feel like he could figure out a way to get him for not that much. But like you said, the Marlins, much like the Pirates, like to raise the price on the Dodgers and make it impossible for them to say yes to any trade. So I could see that too.
Yeah, I just don't feel like the Marlins feel obligated to trade him. And to kind of counter what you said a little earlier, like if he's pitching bad and his market is suppressed, then why would they trade him? They would probably wait for him to rebound and get back to form, because I'm sure he's capable of that. And then they can try to sell high. I mean, look at what the freaking White Sox got out of Garrett Crochet. They didn't give in at the deadline. They still got a haul from the Red Sox. And that ties me to the Red Sox now. What the hell is going on with the Boston Red Sox? They literally handed Rafael Devers over to the San Francisco Giants on a silver platter.
They wanted him out of town. Everything that I've read so far about this was that it was a horrific marriage, from not just the front office, but to the ownership, to even David Ortiz is speaking out saying that Devers never, returned his calls or whatever the hell. It was just a bad marriage that needed to end, obviously. But yeah, I mean, the Red Sox, what are they doing? I don't understand. It was like, it started with Mookie Betts, right? Where what the hell? And what did they even get out of it? Connor Wong? Literally, that's the only guy that's left. I mean, is that worth Mookie Betts? Come on. And then Xander Bogaerts too. They let him walk. And now Rafael Devers. I mean, imagine if the Red Sox were smart and kept all three of those dudes. That is a core you can build around for years. So I have no idea what they're doing over there. And, not that I really care about Red Sox fans or Boston in general, but like those fans give a shit about the team. They are hardcore fans, and they get behind players when they become like hometown heroes like Nomar and David Ortiz and even Manny Ramirez and Pedro Martinez. Like that could have been their lore. I don't know what they're doing with this team. Since 2018, who the hell knows what's going on with that franchise?
Even the Mavericks got more in return for Luka Doncic than the Red Sox got for Rafael Devers.
Insane.
The return, I couldn't believe that was the actual return. Kyle Harrison, Jordan Hicks, and a couple just fringe flyer prospects like you just said a second ago, the Red Sox clearly wanted to ship him out of town. And I don't even think they really even bothered shopping him around the league. They just found a deal with the Giants. They said, oh, you'll take the entire contract. Works for us.
I mean, I think that was the hangup, though, because I did hear reports that they were kind of shopping him around, unlike the Luka Doncic thing, which was like under wraps. I think that they were shopping him around. And Buster Posey basically said, screw it. We'll take on the entire contract. And that's kind of funny, too, because if you remember, it's not really not long ago to remember, but like the Giants have had a real problem landing free agents. They couldn't land Aaron or Arson Judge. They couldn't. They couldn't lure. Who is the other one that they whiffed on? Why is it escaping me?
Well, Correa failed his
medical. They just have not been able to get any free agent to come there. I mean, Matt Chapman is one. Willie Adames is another. So this is an interesting way because now they take on this massive contract. It's as if they signed Devers as a free agent, basically. I mean, they didn't really give up much for him. So it kind of is a free agent signing in a weird way. And now you've added a cornerstone bat to your lineup in San Francisco. I think it's a great move for them. I mean, honestly, like with the season that the Giants are having, like what a power move by Buster Posey.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's been some mixed reactions whether Devers will be an effective ad or just kind of there floating around, but I think it's a phenomenal ad for the San Francisco Giants. You're adding a very potent bat. He's kind of like a Max Muncy-like player, but with the batting average. Pretty poor defender, but good power, good on base, and that's essentially what they're now getting in San Francisco in a guy with Devers, who's still relatively young. 28 years of age, so it's not like his prime is about to slip away. So you're gonna get to milk a lot of good years out of him. My question with the Giants is kind of their pitching. I have a feeling that's going to be the next avenue they start to explore. Maybe add some starting pitching as well. Hint, hint. Maybe that's where Alcantara ends up landing. But credit to Buster Posey. He's done more in 6 months than Farhan Zaidi did in the 5 or 6 mediocre years that guy was there. I know 2021 was an anomaly essentially for the Giants. I still to this day don't know how that team won 107 games when Darren Ruff was like.
It felt like 170 games. It was like, damn, they won again? That's kind of what we thought maybe was happening with this roster, but I don't know. This roster feels like it's better than that one.
This roster does feel better. I feel like there's more established players. Lee is looking a lot better for San Francisco. Clearly, he's healthy. Chapman.
But they were starved for offense. I mean, that was what all the talk was about. Is they needed to add a bat. Their pitching has been great.
Yeah, because Willie Adames hasn't really done much, and they gave him that big contract. This offseason.
So I mean, that's a huge move for them, and. I mean, I think that it adds a lot of spice to the NOS for sure. But we've already been hearing reports actually that because I was curious if Devers was going to kind of play ball and kind of see where that they would actually put him. Obviously, Matt Chapman's injured right now, so he could conceivably play third until he gets back. But reports are saying that he's pretty open to playing first base in DH, something that he kind of put up a fight with the Red Sox about. So I don't know who to really side with in this bad marriage, but kind of insane the way the Red Sox have been handling their business in recent years.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in Boston. They've got an exciting young core. Roman Anthony just hit his first major league home run tonight off Logan Gilbert, but you lose a pretty big power bat in Devers, and I don't know. I feel like it's going to be harder to attract free agents there if they start to have these poor marriages like Betts, Devers, spreads around. We're like in the fourth quarter here now, so I want to make sure we get a last call out there. If anyone has any questions, see some other people just showing up. Empire, Jeff TV, Aaron Attic, let's go Dodgers. I mean, obviously, we love the Dodgers here. All-star thoughts real quick. So the first ballot, or I should say the first voting results came in, and not a whole lot of surprises. Nice to see Tommy Edman currently in second behind Ketel Marte. You've got Shohei Ohtani leading the way, Freddie Freeman leading the way, Mookie Betts is kind of sneaking in there in the conversation. Is there any Dodger player that you definitely want to see on the All-Star team that isn't the obvious?
I think Andy Pages, I don't know if that's obvious or not, but he's definitely earned a spot on the All-Star roster, not as a starter, because I don't think that he's going to get enough votes for that. And there probably are maybe some better outfielders out there, like a PCA, like Pico Armstrong or someone like that. But Andy Pages and Teoscar Hernandez, I think, deserves a really solid look too. And I would love to see Teo go back to the home run derby and defend his title.
Yeah, I mean, Andy Paz is probably the one that definitely deserves the recognition right now. Just a quick shout out to some of the Dodgers relievers, because I feel like we steered away from that course, but I know you mentioned how they've been really stepping it up as of late. I mean, Tanner Scott has looked like the Tanner Scott that we gave that big contract to over his last 7 games, hasn't allowed an earned run, 10 strikeouts. I know he had that strikeout of the side a couple nights ago against the Giants, and his fastball command and velocity has looked really sharp, 98, 99 miles per hour. Just 2 hits, no walks over his last 7 innings, 10 strikeouts. Tanner Scott looking really good. Kirby Yates, another guy that he's looked really good as well since coming off the injured list. I know he got the save tonight as well, but Kirby Yates, I'm glad to see him kind of thriving in high leverage, so happy to have him back. Anthony Banda, he's looked much better. Alex Vesia, looking like that Red Bull maniac Alex Vesia. Pretty much almost everyone in the Dodgers bullpen right now, with the exception of Matt Sauer, is looking really good out there.
Yeah, this bullpen's really stepped it up, and I just love, it just makes such a difference when guys like Kopech and Kirby Yates come back and are able to be those high leverage guys, and you're not trying to like throw Luis Garcia out there or, any of the guys that they really, had to just, they had no other choice but to put those guys in those positions. And obviously those relievers aren't meant for that. They're meant for, mop up roles and low leverage. And, when a starter can't make it out of the 3rd inning, you put a Luis Garcia in the game, but you don't put them in the 8th inning of a tied game in an NL West divisional rival. You don't do that. So to have these guys back and performing at a high level, and thank God Tanner Scott turned it around, because that was a little scary. And I think the turning point, honestly, was recently, I can't remember the opponent right now, but it was a game where he blew the game in extra innings, and then Dave Roberts went back to him the second night in the same exact situation. I forget who we were playing.
Was it the Mets?
But may have been the Mets. It may have been the Mets. But it was recently. And then since then, he's been amazing and just dominating every time out. So thank God for that.
Looks like we're not seeing any other questions here, but I guess we can dive into final thoughts or anything else you wanted to cover real quick.
My final thoughts are, it's really nice when, like I said before, the offense just shows up early, and it's obviously more sustainable when you're able to put up runs early and establish a lead, give your starting pitcher confidence, and ride out the win from there instead of always having to fight back. But this offense is one of the best offenses I've ever seen as a fan. Just the ability to literally score in every single way possible. It's not just by the home run. It's the stolen base. It's small ball, the use of the sacrifice fly too, just scratching runs across when you can, because runs are a premium in this game. And it's been amazing to watch, and seeing this team over the last couple of series against NL West opponents score early. You're seeing the results, and that's why they have a winning record against the Giants and the Padres.
Not saying that they're going to do it, but if you look at the pitching probables for the Padres, the Dodgers have a realistic chance of sweeping them in 4 games. You've got Randy Vasquez, Stephen Kolek, and Ryan Berger. These all sound like AAA guys to me. I know they've all proven themselves now at the major league level, but none of these guys instill any fear into me. The Padres starting rotation right now, which I think is going to be their downfall, looks pretty thin. And some of these guys, these ERAs are no way are sustainable. So I feel like the Dodgers are going to have a good offensive series, and they're going to have to step up. Might be tomorrow where they really have to step up. And Shohei Ohtani, talk about him more in a quick second, but this will be the last question from Aaron Attic. Any future games you two are looking to attend?
Well, I do know that I'm going to the one of the Astros games on July 5th, so I'll be there then, which will be fun. It's always fun when the Astros come to town. There's always some fireworks, so I'm looking forward to that. But I just wanted to quickly comment on your point about the lineup of Padres starters. I feel like one of them is going to shut us down, right? I mean, that's just what happens a lot sometimes. Just a random guy that the Dodgers should be able to crush, just, I don't know, for a night, figures them out. So we could see that, but I also could see a 4-game sweep. I mean, with the way that this offense is cooking, I don't see what could stop them other than a journeyman pitcher.
So, yeah, to answer the question, I think coincidentally we're going to be at the same game because I just got my tickets for July 5th, Saturday.
Oh, nice.
Dodgers, Astros.
Fantastic.
Going with my dad as a Father's Day celebration. So, yeah, happy Father's Day, belated Father's Day to all the fathers out there. So, yeah, my final thoughts real quick. Shohei Ohtani, the way he's playing right now, I don't even know how you could debate who's even in the conversation right now for National League MVP. What Shohei Ohtani is doing now that he's pitching is just why he's the unicorn. 1,000 OPS, 25 home runs, 43 RBIs. The guy is just a freak of nature, and I tell it to everyone that we are living in the glory days of Dodgers baseball right now. So just enjoy the ride. Watch every Shohei Ohtani at-bat if you have the chance, because any given at-bat, he could hit a home run. And when you now fuel it with the possibility of him pitching and hitting a home run on the same night, remarkable.
Beautifully said. And happy Father's Day to you, Kevin.
Thank you. It was my first Father's Day and hopefully not my last.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Not for the daughter, but for me. Got to be safe out there.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
Thank you guys for watching another episode and listening to this episode of the Incline Dodgers podcast. We are presented by TickPick and Fansided. And if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, hit that subscribe button if you're a fan. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on so you don't miss a live stream, and drop a comment. Share some Shohei Ohtani thoughts if you have it in you. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.